I know last year in the playoffs, the Bengals were on the outside looking in, and the Steelers made it. They inched their way into the postseason behind the arm of two different quarterbacks in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, behind a very potent defense but a nonchalant offense. And when I look at the way that this Steelers team is positioned, and I see that T.J. Watt is now in a contract dispute that might be very hard for the Steelers to get a hold of based on where the market has gone and how much he means to your team. The Steelers look like the most likely AFC playoff team from last year to be on the outside looking in this season. And you can shout from the mountaintops how much you can believe in a guy like Mike Tomlin, who has an 18-year streak of not having a losing record, of being 500 or above, 18 years in a row. You can even look at the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers as a franchise. They've done it 21 straight years, 3 years of Bill Cowher before you get to Mike Tomlin. C-Cat, do you know who they hold a record with? It is an NFL record, 21 years in a row of 500 or better football. There's one team lockstep with the Steelers.
The 49ers.
Nope. Another NFC legend. Another NFC great.
The Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys.
That was my first guess, and I thought better of it.
That's why I said earlier, Cowboys fans get ready to pop that champagne bottle like the 72 Dolphins do every year when a team falls off. Not only will the Steelers miss the postseason this year, C-Cat, I look on Hard Rock Bet. Their win total right now, 8.5. And the juice is on the over. Like, the Steelers aren't going to just miss the playoffs this year. They're going to have a losing season. They are going to do the unthinkable under a Mike Tomlin-led team and have a losing season this year, not just based on what they're bringing back and what they've done in this offseason, but the fact that your now starting quarterback is Aaron Rodgers. He's 42 years old. Again, you can't assume health with a guy like that at that age. You can't assume competence with a guy like that who seems just as checked out as he was when he was with the Jets, skipping out on voluntary camp, just now signing on with your team and joining the team this week. You don't know any of these dudes. You don't know the running backs. You don't know the offensive linemen. Maybe you've met DK Metcalf. I know damn well you don't know who Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin are. And Aaron Rodgers is just now walking through that door, and you're telling me that in a tough AFC, and maybe the toughest division in the AFC, which is the AFC North, that this Steelers team is going to be better than they were last year, a 10-win team that squeaked into the playoffs and got absolutely just trounced by your Ravens, C-Cat? I don't know why it's not being talked about enough right now, but the Steelers are dead in the water, and the question is not whether or not they'll make the playoffs, it's who's most likely to actually replace them.
Well, yeah, we talk about how the Steelers have had culture instability at a couple of positions that are not quarterback, like Le'Veon Bell situation, the Antonio Brown situation.
It's always a receiver issue.
Exactly. And a latest issue was George Pickens. Now, Mike Tomlin's been really good about navigating that type of issue and not completely tanking the locker room to a level that is not redeemable. Again, we talk about that over 500 streak. It's still alive. And that is a lot due to Mike Tomlin and keeping that locker room together. When they made the switch from Justin Fields to Russell Wilson, when the Steelers were 4-2, looking pretty strong, look like they were on their way to surpassing expectations with Fields at quarterback and not the veteran Wilson, Mike Tomlin still made a good move at almost every turn.
Yeah.
But what you can't handle is culture instability at quarterback. We talk about how important receiver is, how it's just rocketing up the charts in terms of important positions in football. The importance of a culture stability at quarterback, it pales in comparison to wide receiver.
You need some level of continuity. You need, not just at quarterback, but damn it, offensive coordinator. How about his weapons? Like, everything feels like it's changing. You just drafted a new running back in Caleb Johnson out of Iowa, who people are excited about, but still, that's going to be relying heavily on a first-year running back who wasn't even a first-round grade in many people's books. They got him in the second round. I mean, a good pick. Still, if you're the Steelers, what did you do to get better this year? You lost the mainstay in the backfield in Najee Harris. You lost George Pickens, who is directly tied When things went off the rails with the Steelers on the back end of last year with Russell Wilson, when they started losing game after game after game, those were the games that Pickens was either hampered or out. He was one of the keys to that offense flowing. He's no longer there, and you bring in DK Metcalf, but oh, joy. Oh, joy. DK Metcalf has never had any kind of on or off field issues before. We've never seen him throw a temper tantrum. Everything will be fine. My whole issue right now with the Steelers is when you go out and you give DK that big contract, who has done nothing for your organization, when you are also a team that goes and gets a guy in Aaron Rodgers, who not only has done nothing for you, he made you wait until June, not just to sign, but to show up and practice and play with you, which is showing another, again, level of just not even, I don't want to say he's discontent. I don't want to say he's disattached, but at the very least we can say the on his list of priorities, football might not be number one. And I'm not knocking him for it. That's just what he's telling us. I don't know if you're Mike Tomlin, how you can look at this roster and feel like you have a better chance to get better next year. You were a 10-win team last year. Vegas obviously thinks you're hovering around an 8-win team this year. And I look at the rest of the AFC, and I see teams that have improved hand over fist. I see teams that have gotten improvements at the quarterback position. I see teams that went out and paid at the receiver and tight end positions. I see teams that have improved on the defensive side, whereas I look at the most important positions on the Steelers rosters, right? Most important positions in football are what? Number one, quarterback. Huge question mark in Aaron Rodgers at 42. All he's done is miss the playoffs for the last 3-4 years of his career. Why would that change with a team that is less talented than what he was on last year? And he's got to learn a new system with Arthur Smith. When has he played for a coach like Arthur Smith before? How much shotgun is he going to be in? And how much play action is he ready to be doing under center? We don't know. Also, wide receiver. Maybe it's an upgrade going from Pickens to Metcalf. If so, marginal. DK Metcalf, I don't know if you've seen his numbers year over year, but it's not like he's been knocking it out the park. Looks good in the uniform. His performance, I mean, there's a reason why the Seahawks, who expect to be an NFC playoff team this year, were cool with parting ways with him. Let's keep it G. And then I look at edge rusher, and TJ Watt is not there as the team is coming together for minicamp, getting ready for training camp, because you have not tied him into a long-term deal. He is the sixth, 106 career sacks, sixth most amongst active players. He's been on your team and a mainstay for the past 8 years. He is one of the leaders of that franchise, and you haven't taken care of him yet. All signs point towards negativity. All signs point towards regression. And if you're the Steelers or a Steelers fan right now, there's no way you can feel optimistic about what is around the corner, especially if your only source of optimism is the fact that number 8, Aaron Rodgers, is walking through that door.
And remember how the terms were in New York. It was Aaron Rodgers' show where he got his buddies in, he got his offensive coordinator in. Aaron Rodgers was determining the future of the New York Jets. Didn't go well.
No.
But now you're relying on an old dog to learn new tricks, in that it's not like Mike Tomlin, Rooney family, is going to hand over the keys to the prestigious Pittsburgh Steelers to this over-the-hill quarterback. So are we going to bet on Aaron Rodgers being, you know what, last 20 years, that was the wrong way of doing things. This is the way of doing things today in my retirement job. That's not likely going to happen smoothly at that matter. Maybe he surprises us, and maybe you finally have that new leaf of all cool, calm, collected, easygoing, culture builder rather than culture disruptor in that of Aaron Rodgers. Maybe the post-game comments won't call into question the jobs of his surrounding pieces, unlike we saw last year with the New York Jets. Maybe he deviates from what we know Aaron Rodgers to be in terms of the whirlwind surrounding him off the field, but odds are that won't happen.
Yeah. Well, why would I believe
we're
that?
Taking leaps and bounds to try to get to a different conclusion. And you're asking to jump through a lot of hoops in order to get me to believe the Steelers will be better than they were last year.
There's no signs of it. The only thing I can have faith in is, Mike Tomlin just doesn't have losing seasons. But the other side of that is Aaron Rodgers has done nothing but that since 2021. and he's only getting older, and he's only getting more steadfast in his ways. And he also has proven that he's not taking this offseason any differently than he does for the past 3 or 4. Why would I believe differently? You've shown me who you are. I believe you, Aaron Rodgers, and I appreciate you for being real and genuine about who you are. Here's the question. If you're a Steelers fan, if you're an AFC North person, if you're in the mix, the question is, who the hell is going to replace them in the AFC? And the funny part is, I think there's so many more answers than people would assume. It is a Top 5 Tuesday. On the other side, I'm actually going to give y'all my top 5 contenders, top 5 teams that will replace the Steelers. Of the AFC teams that made the playoffs last year, all 7 of them, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Texans, Broncos, Chargers, and Steelers. The Steelers are the most likely to miss the postseason this year. I'll give you my top 5 teams that have a chance to replace them. Before I do, I ask you, if you had to put your own hard-earned money on it, do you think the Steelers make the postseason this year? TJ Watt is sitting out. You lose Najee Harris. You lose George Pickens. Not many big additions for Pittsburgh, but you got Mike Tomlin. You got Aaron Rodgers. Is it enough? You got DK Metcalf. Do the Steelers make the postseason this year? I say hell no. C-Cat, I think you're lockstep with me on that.
Oh, not a chance. When Hard Rock Bet, when we get closer to the season, you can get alternate win totals.
Please.
Give me the alternate win total under 4.5 for the Steelers in 2025. Give me plus 300 on that. Oh,
you're crazy.
I'll eat it like lunch.
Whoa. Relax. Hey.
A cheesecake.
I will say, too, with the Steelers, 10th hardest schedule. 10th hardest schedule coming into the year.
It feels like a house of cards where Mike Tomlin has gotten away with it year over year over year. And introducing Aaron Rodgers to the locker room and having your best player on the field not happy with how much he's getting paid.
Yeah.
That feels like too much. The dam is going to break. The water is going to hit the valley. And goodbye, Steelers being competent.
Not a good sign. Team. It's not a good sign. And you know what? That will be good for the future of the Steelers because then they can get themselves a quarterback.